Hey, how you guys doing? So, Lovely Bluebird had a bunch of news just came out earlier today, and I did my best to try to compile a bunch of them in just a short time. Now, I'm really limited how much time I have before I get really busy, so I'm not going to be able to cover everything in super deep detail. And there's still a lot of stuff we don't quite know yet, so I'm just trying to do my best to cover as much as we can and just give you guys a little bit of knowledge about a good amount of stuff for Lovely Bluebird. So, of course, for those people who are still way out of the loop, what the heck is Lovely Bluebird? So, it started off with a simple teaser where it was dramatic music. We saw this girl. Who's this girl? Oh, we think, oh, she's the leader, but she's crying. There's dramatic music. What the heck is that supposed to mean? And they even mentioned the Hard Life Club. So, what is that? Well, we didn't know for a little while, but they just showed the logo, and then later they had another teaser that showed a little while ago where it's like, oh, it's Japan. Here's an outline of a bunch of girls. And they talk about how it's going to be through X and YouTube, how they're going to cover a bunch of the content for these girls. So, of course, then people start speculating, oh, is this going to be like Hasuna Sora? Are they going to just be virtual idols? How it's going to be handled? And we slowly start piecing things together. We learn that these girls are going to be, just online girls, and that's how that's going to be handled. But a bunch of the story, the content's going to come out is through just X and or Twitter and YouTube. And why it's called Lovely Bluebird is probably because a lot of the stuff that they're going to do is on what used to be called Twitter. So I guess that's why it's called Lovely Bluebird, huh? It was interesting that's the way they named it. But that's what we knew before. But now let's take a look at what we have learned from all the information that they released today. So this image by the Seiyuu on Twitter, they have give you just a quick snippet of the looks of all the girls that we have. The 10 girls on the left, those are of course the animated versions, and the seiyus are on the right, so you can get a quick look and see how each girl is, but I'm going to go in way more detail than just this, so let's go ahead and jump into that. So I just want to give you an idea of where a good majority of these content that I'm talking about comes from. This is one of the sources. It's the main site. This is where they store a bunch of the information a lot of people are talking about. There's other things I'll be using as well, as like a wiki and other posts on the Twitter and such as well, but here it is. This is the large image. You can see if you want to get a close look at each one of the girls. I will go over each one in more detail, and you can see they have some basic information. So this is the whole member page, so if you want to quickly look at the names that they got here, look at the names and the colors. This is the auto-translated, so this stuff can be potentially wrong at times. But this is a quick look at all the girls. So you can click on any one of these to learn a little bit more. I'll go in more detail for these girls eventually. But this will give you a quick, brief overview of each girl. What do they look like? What are some facts about them? Who is the Seiyu? And so on. But I'll come back to that later. I wanted to cover some basic stuff before we get to each girl. So before we get to covering each girl, let's talk about the school. The school is going to be called Love High School. I don't know, because Love Live or something. So this is a completely online school that we got here, and it is abbreviated as L High because, I guess L for love. So L High. It's kind of weird to say I go to L. It's like an L school technically, but who knows? I don't know if they really thought about it. But as I mentioned here, it's an internet school, and the thing is, they have satellite schools all over the country. This country being Japan. So these girls are actually not going to be all in one physical location. One physical school. They're going to be in different cities, so they have it here. So this image of course isn't translated, but you can figure out which girls are different locations based on what the color images here. I'll throw up a translated image that will give you a little closer, but here is the Tokyo area. I think more specifically it's Asakusa is where these girls are. I believe here is Umeda, so this is a little closer to, I think, like Kyoto or something like that. And up here is like Fukui or something. But basically, we have 2 girls that are at this location, 3 girls at this location, and 4 girls at this location. That potentially could mean that's how subunits are handled because they each go to different locations. But technically, this is an online school, so they can still collaborate through that, and we'll have to figure out how it's handled. And that's the kind of idea how this is going to be done. So I'm sure you guys are just more interested in learning about each character, so let's go over each one. So this is just a character introduction video. They all have one, and they're not subbed, but someone has been subbing it. This person on YouTube, go to their channel if you want to watch them in full. but I'll just give you a brief idea about each girl here. So the first girl is Poka Takahashi, and she is voiced by Hono Ayasaki. She is the leader of what the group is going to be called, the Ikaizura Ibu or Ikaizura Club. Her image color is yellow, not orange, even though she's the leader, so keep that in your mind. That it's a little different, I suppose. In fact, nobody in this group is actually orange. Her parents live in Argentina, and due to her bad grades, she was recommended to attend an online school, which is, of course, Love High School. She started up to attract students and raise funds for the school. She is bad at math and computers, and apparently she failed a test and cried about it on Twitter. Yep. Her hobby is supposed to be napping, and she can sleep anywhere. So I'm going to throw this for each of the characters. They had this image, they weren't translated. I used Google Translate. It's not perfect, but this will give you an idea. We had to learn that overall she's a pretty bright, cheery, happy character. That's kind of true for some leaders. She is not intelligent also, like some few leaders over, but she kind of got that lovable energy about her. I would say overall, she's kind of the character that has broad appeal. A lot of leaders tend to be those people who like to make friends with everyone, and that's what she's probably good at, just not math or computers apparently, so keep her away from that. But overall, I think she's a pretty nice character. I like what I see so far. I don't know if she's gonna be the most popular, but I think there is definitely appeal for this character. As for her seiyuu, it's Honon Ayasaki, as mentioned earlier, and she is skilled at piano and peeling fruit, and she likes to do karaoke and visit shrines. And then last but not least, I'm going to give you a little bit snippet of the song. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I want to highlight what her voice sounds like based on the small sections of solos that we have. So without further ado, let's listen to her voice. So there isn't a whole lot to go off of, but overall I think I see a character that I can like, so I'll definitely look forward to learning more about Poka, which is an interesting name. Next up we have My Azabu. So My Azabu is a first year, and in fact 8 out of the 10 girls I'll be mentioning will be first years. She is the vice president of the idol club, and her nickname is Mai Mai. I guess not to be confused with My Mai Tonight. She loves programming, and she has considered using her coding skills to make avatars to use in the club activities. She's skilled with the soldering iron and DIY projects. She likes programming and data mining, and apparently she also likes Minecraft. So in general, you can see her as being a very techie person, dealing with computers, and yes, soldering can be useful in computer circuit boards and such. Though she's also not good at communicating with people. She often likes to help Poka, as I mentioned before, because she struggles with doing things with computers, and she has good at the ability to handle that. And she also calls Poka noisy. As for her seiyuu, she is Rina Endo. So I guess we got another Rina for Love Live, and I guess it's kind of interesting that we got a techie person like that. Rina was born on October 4th, 2005, so we got some young people here. She is skilled at singing, though I figured all the seiyus here better be skilled at singing, so I don't know I will continue mentioning that. And she also is skilled at playing the guitar. She's only 148 centimeters, so a bit on the shorter side, being 4'10". Granted, there are a few that are a little bit shorter. She also has done a few roles outside of Love Live, including Hina Kubota from Bara Kamon, Suki Kumo Kamaki in Blue Exorcist, as well as Drusilla and Grand Blue Fantasy. Most of these seiyus actually have not done a whole lot of roles, so this is quite a bit of an exception, but in terms of Love Live, most Love Live seiyus don't do a lot, because Love Live tends to hire young, upcoming seiyus with very little experience, but not necessarily lacking in talent. As for voice clips, there wasn't really much by herself, so I don't do with this what you can. But that more or less is what Mai is. Basically, she likes tech, she likes computers, she wants to go in IT and become a president for IT, so that's what she is. Next up, we have Akira Goto. She is one of the founding members of the club. Her goal is to be a professional climber, and her hope is that enrolling in this school will give her more time to focus on that. That's essentially what almost every girl has done. Why she picked online is because everyone wants more time to do what they want their future goal to be. She is actually from Numazu, which that's where Aqua is from, and on top of that, her aunt lives near Otonokizaka, which is the school that the Muse went. So it is very much true that she is actually familiar with Muse and Aqua, so they do exist in this universe. And on top of that, both of those groups became inspiration for her to form the club. She tends to be more seldom, she is often by herself, focusing on doing things like exercises to maintain her body shape, instead of hanging out with friends. She is very athletic, and she can do stuff like handstands, and, maybe she has the ability to influence her choreography. But at minimum, I expect you can see her being responsible for the training regimens that they have to do. Because on top of that, she is also a sports nutritionist who is a certified athlete food meister, which I think it's a certificate you can get to people in high school as they try to become sport nutritionists, and they can help out with that kind of jazz. So you can expect her to influence what these girls eat as well. For her seiyuu, she was born on January 5th, 2007. She likes FPS games, first-person shooters, and she is good at makeup and taking selfies. As for how she sounds, here is a clip of her singing. So overall, Akira, she is quite the athletic girl. She's going to be one filling, I guess, that trope. But her voice sounds pretty nice, honestly. I'm definitely more interested in her after listening to her voice, so I'll keep an eye out for her. Now we go to Hannabi Komagata. She is very much the very traditional girl. The main thing she is known for is wearing kimonos, and in fact she's going to wear it literally like all the time. She's an only child of a kimono shop owner, and it is her dream to take over the business and expand it worldwide, hoping that she gets to spread the culture of kimonos to the people around the globe. In fact, she's always thinking about kimonos, and her hobby is also kimonos, and she joined the club to help promote kimonos with her singing and dancing. She's got some business sense, and her personality has been shaped by her experiences at the shop, and on top of that, she likes dressing, calligraphy, and cooking with microwaves. Is that cooking? And on top of that, she also likes reading. As for her seiyuu, she is Kokoro Fujino. She likes to play drums, games, and she likes roller coasters. She's skilled at doing hair and makeup, and she's apparently skilled at FPS games as well. Actually, a few of these seiyuu say they are like FPS and are good at it, so I'm interested to see if they truly are. I like to consider myself alright, but maybe one day I can play against them in my pipe dreams. But let's go ahead and listen to how she sounds in this song. So that is Hannabi. She is very much a very traditional Japanese girl. She is essentially kimono the girl. That's her personality, essentially, is kimono. That's all what she's about. That's what consumes her personality, that consumes her thoughts, at least from what I've seen. So it's likely you're almost always going to see her wearing kimonos, unless there's some reason why she can't. But even the songs, I imagine she probably is going to wear that, or more towards a kimono, and potentially will affect some songs that they'll do where it's going to be very kimono focused. I seem to like this character so far. I think the seiyuu looks interesting, and the voice I kind of like, but though I swear it sounds like Shizuku or something. I don't know, it sounds familiar for whatever reason. But overall, I'm seeming to like Hannabi. I like the name and a lot of things about her. She's definitely one I'm going to keep my eye out on. I think she's pretty interesting. Now we go to Mirakuru Kanazawa, or Miracle, I guess. Am I allowed to say it that way? Is that too white? But she is, I don't know, I swear she sounds like Kasumi. She is one of the 2 second years that we have here, and she loves to bake, which lines up with her dream, which is to be a pastry chef that has shops all over the world. She can be very blunt, and she is good at pulling all-nighters. I don't know, she kind of gives me that almost gremlin kind of personality. She's got a little higher pitched voice, and she almost kind of looks really pink like a strawberry or something like that. Her seiyuu is Aiha Sakano, and I don't have much about her, but apparently she likes action and horror games. So now all that's left is to listen to her voice. So that is Miracle, or however you're gonna say her name. Overall, I don't think this is kind of my character, but who knows yet? It's too early to tell. I'm not crazy about higher pitched voices, so that tends to turn me away. I do think she looks kind of cute. I think the pink and bright colors work very well for her. So visually, just her looks, I like what I see from her. But we'll have to see more from her personalities and such, and how she handles her interactions, because that I don't really know a whole lot yet. But I am not gonna say no and start disregarding her yet, because I kind of do like her looks, honestly. I think she looks pretty cute. So for that so much so far, I'll definitely wait and see what I think about her. Now we go to Noriko Tofu. So first and foremost, she says she likes Spy Family, and let me just say, nice. That's pretty cool. Interesting that they confirmed the existence of an anime in here, but I think that was pretty cool. Anyways, Noriko is an inspiring voice actress, and she chose to go online school to allow her to get more time to balance with school lessons. You know, they all kind of do that. She was able to join an agency, but she hasn't really gotten any gigs for that yet. She is said to have perfect pitch, and she's considered herself mass-produced, meaning that she sees herself as not having any redeeming qualities or unique features. She's good at cleaning and great at setting volleyballs for when they play volleyball. She watches anime, reads manga and light novels, and apparently her homeroom teacher is a VTuber. I don't know if that's going to influence her. And she also goes to the Hokuriku satellite branch, which that's the one where only those two girls go. The seiyuu for Noriko is Ria Seko. She likes to draw, she appreciates art, flowers, and likes to play games. Again, I don't have a whole lot about some of these girls. And now let's go ahead and listen to how she sounds. So from what I heard, at least from the recording, I like what I hear. It feels like it's a little more heavy on the auto-tune, so I have to listen to more before I can really say what I think about her, at least in terms of her singing. But I think there is something here. Not necessarily my favorite character design-wise, but that's not always the end-all be-all. But so far, I think there's something here. Now we go to Yukuri Harumiya. So Yukuri has been doing ballet since her childhood, and she wishes to join an opera company. But interesting enough, is she wants to do it as a male role. However, apparently due to medical concerns, she has reconsidered that role. But she still wants to be a theater actress, and her hobby is to go to musical theaters. She is calm, elegant, helpful, and of course she's good at ballet. Her seiyuu is Yuki Okumura, not to be confused with Yukuri, which is the name of the character, and a lot of people have been equating her to Shiki seiyuu. So, I mean, I guess they kind of look similar, and they got similar last names. But Yuki herself likes to do karaoke, visit ramen shops or cafes, and to watch movies. She's skilled in ballet, and apparently she's good at imitating cicadas. So now let's listen to how she sounds in the song. So that is Yukuri, and I think she has a pretty pleasant voice. A small sample size for the song, but honestly, I'm like, oh, this is kind of an interesting character. I guess the one thing that really stood out for me is that she wants, if you look at her personality, she wants to be a laid-back, emotional guy. So I wonder the fact that she's definitely leaning towards more of the guys, I guess almost like a tomboy. How is that going to change her relationships with the rest of the girls? Are they going to play into it? Is there going to be a lot of shipping happening? That's probably something they will do. But the question is how far and how much is it they're going to do that? And are the other girls going to like the fact that she can be a little more masculine-esque in some ways? We'll have to see. Because Love Live really hasn't done that too much. So this is definitely a unique thing for Love Live to do with this character. One character that definitely stands out is Aurora Konohara. In fact, if you look at her Twitter handle, it's really twinkle. So that, yeah, totally makes sense. Anyways, so Aurora is the other second year out of the 8. And she is very much into fashion. She likes to post about beauty stuff on her social media. You can definitely equate some of that to like Aimee Shita, for example. She has lived overseas a lot due to her parents' work. In fact, she most recently came from LA or Los Angeles. Her motto is "Love is Justice." She is gifted at makeup, making coffee, matchmaking, and playing soccer. Aurora is voiced by Akane Amasawa. Akane was born on January 19, 2003. Her hobby is Zentangle. Kind of hard to describe, search it up, but I don't know, they draw a bunch of shapes and then they fill it in with different random art patterns is the best way I can describe it. And she is skilled at ballet. So now let's go ahead and listen to how she sounds in the song. So overall, I feel like she's probably going to be one of the more popular characters. At least I know a lot of people have been singing her praises already that I've seen on social media. And, you know, she definitely has good looks. I'll definitely say that. The voice seems to be decent so far. Small sample size again. But overall, I don't know if this is a character for me. But I do see the appeal of her. And we'll have to see what she is going to accomplish. I'm curious to see if there's going to be more of her internationalness where she travels a lot with her family come into play. The fact that she came from LA, does that mean anything? I don't know. They mentioned it for some reason, right? So I guess we'll have to see about that. Next up we go to Midori Yamada. And if anything about this character really stands out is that she is green, like straight up green. First and foremost, her Twitter title is Little Green Calm. But she is just really big on green. Yes, that's her image color, but I mean that, well, she's big on the environment. She is really focused on that. She spends a lot of time on websites and social media, focusing and advocating for the effort. She actually has a part-time job where she donates all her earnings to environmental foundations. She works hard. She's serious. You can see she's holding an animal right now. And she also likes to camp, catch bugs, fish, stargaze, make s'mores. She's also very much an outdoorsy girl. She just loves nature, essentially. That's who she is. She's green. She also likes puzzles. She's good at them and does kendama as well. Her seiyuu is Honoka Kotomori, not to be confused with Honoka Kosaka. She likes to dance, takes walks, do photography, and to watch movies. So now let's listen to how she sounds in the song. So that was Midori. Not the biggest fan of the way her voice sounds in the song. It's just one song's one segment or two short segments, but the voice sounds a little nasally, maybe is how you put it. But no, I wouldn't really want to listen to that for that long. The character, she looks fine. I mean, she likes green, and I think that's a great message. She's got a cute little animal in her hands. I'm not sure what that is, a cat or a dog or something. But at least her singing voice, the way she was singing in that segment, I'm not really that interested in listening more of that. The voice when she was talking, now we had that segment, I think that's fine. That was fine by me. I'm just a little more cautious about her singing voice because it's probably been the least favorite I listen to here. I don't know, man. Hopefully it gets better, but I don't know, maybe some people like that, but for me personally, no, I'm sorry. So last but not least, we have Shon Sasaki. She was the last one they showed off, and her format is actually very different from the rest. In fact, we didn't get quite as much information. Some information is just straight up not mentioned. So we don't know what school she is at. I don't think we also even know how tall she is, or her birthday, stuff like that. It was missing information. We do know that, you know, she has cat ears, but it's more like just what she wears for the headset. but you get a lot of Rina vibes from her, just maybe a little more grown up, even though she's also kind of a first year, so I don't know about that, I guess. But she seemed to kind of like hack in for the intro, and she's also got kind of a white color, which is also kind of had to be forced to be gray, which is very much like Rina. She does a lot of live streamings, and also apparently she occasionally misses school for trivial things. And she doesn't seem to have a great relationship with her parents. Her personality melds well with her live streaming. And she likes to be indoors a lot, stay up late, and she's very talkative and knows, but that's not the case when she is in person. She also likes to read, do puzzles, and build plastic models, and she's skilled in piano and violin. As for her seiyuu, it is Aoi Suzunose, and yeah, that's about it. I don't really know too much about her, so here's her picture, and cool, I suppose. So now let's go listen to her voice. Yeah, so we don't get a lot about her or her seiyuu, so that's interesting enough. Though I kind of like the way I kind of like her looks, and the voice sounded pretty nice as well. So I'm definitely gonna be interested in learning more about her and listen to more of her voice, because I think there's definitely something here. So enough teasing a bunch of those sections of songs. What does all these song clumps come from? Well, they have their first single. It is called What Is My Life? Interesting title. Apparently they don't know what their life is. But that one's gonna come out on the July 30th with one B-side song. We don't know what that is, but this came with an MV. So I'll just shut up and show you the MV. So, I don't know, I feel like I'm almost getting like Idol Master vibes here. Not that I really watch Idol Master, so I don't really know, but that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Some people say they really love this song, some people don't care as much, so I know some people criticize the art style. I don't really see the problem with this art style. It's not my favorite, but I don't see the problem with it at all. And there's already characters that I like. The song itself is fine. It takes time for me to really assess songs or to get a really good accurate feeling unless I really, really, really like them. And I think this has been fine so far. And it's a decent song. If you're wondering where all the choruses or the solo parts come from, it's the second verse. And it's usually how it goes. And I'm seeing quite a bit of potential with these girls. There are girls that definitely have intrigued me. And I definitely am more interested to learn more about how these girls interact and what songs that they produce. If you're interested in some of the other small stats I didn't really mention, they're all here. These are the best I could feel to my knowledge at the current moment. If you're curious to see birthdays and heights and all that jazz. So this is what I got so far for all the girls. So anyways, that's kind of a brief overview of everything. There's going to be a lot more content coming through the social medias. Each girls have their own Twitter handle. So if you want to learn more about the girls, you can go and see the story quote unquote unravel in real time as they post more and more on social media. So go give them a follow. And the nice thing is it does have auto translate available. So that is nice to see that we have some way of getting the content. Although it's not fully translated, we have that. No, there's of course that barrier of, do you care about social media? Do you want to deal with social media and constantly keep track of how that is going to do? And not every post is going to mean anything. I don't know, that's a lot to handle, especially with 10 girls. So maybe you just follow the ones you're interested in. But we'll have to see. I have a bunch of links in the description below if you want to look more about the videos about each of these girls and see if any of these catch your eye. So I'm curious to see, based on your guys' opinion, what characters are you most interested currently? What is calling out to you? There's a variety of girls. They each have their own different personalities and styles. So what calls out you the most? I'm curious to see. If you're looking for my personal opinion at this moment, it's kind of tough. Hannabi seems to be something interesting. I kind of generally like traditional girls, like Dai and such. She kind of hits that vibe. So there's that. I would say Shion has been very interesting as well. I do not mind learning more about her. I generally like the leaders of Poka as well. And then I'm definitely curious to learn more about Yukuri and Akira. We got small samples of their voices, but I'm like, those are kind of interesting to listen to. So those are probably the ones I'm most interested in as of right now. But of course, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way in the future. But that's just currently how I am right now. I don't know enough to make big assessments on these girls. But I'm curious to see what you guys think about this project and what favorite girl do you have so far. But anyways, that'll be it for this video. It's about half an hour of boatload of content. So hopefully you find this helpful. Let me know all the stuff you think about this in the comments below. I'm curious to hear about you guys' opinions. And we'll definitely see more of this stuff in the future. And I'll try to see if I can cover that. But anyways, I really appreciate you guys watching this. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to catch you guys in another video soon.